15 Quiet Memories of American Life in the 1950s That Time Forgot. There was a time when life wasn't designed to move fast. It wasn't optimized, automated, or constantly improved. Life simply moved forward, slowly, predictably, and with purpose. People didn't chase convenience or shortcuts. They followed routines, and those routines quietly shaped everyday life in 1950s America without anyone realizing they would one day disappear. Today, we're looking back at 15 quiet memories of American life in the 1950s. Not the famous moments or the polished versions shown in history books, but the ordinary details people lived with every day and never imagined would be lost. 1. Open doors. Front doors were often left unlocked, not because locks didn't exist, but because fear wasn't a constant presence. Neighbors came and went freely. Children moved between houses without permission slips, and visitors knocked more out of politeness than necessity. Trust wasn't discussed or debated, it was simply assumed. Safety felt natural, woven quietly into daily life, rather than enforced or negotiated. 2. Single car. Most families owned one car, and that single vehicle quietly controlled the rhythm of the household. Errands were planned carefully, schedules overlapped, and trips were combined to save time and fuel. If the car was gone, the house stayed home. Transportation wasn't about independence or freedom. It was about cooperation, patience, and shared responsibility. 3. Free children. Children weren't supervised every moment of the day. They were given clear boundaries, then trusted to stay within them. Kids left the house in the morning, explored neighborhoods, played until exhaustion, and returned home by sunset. There were no phones, no tracking devices, and no constant check-ins. Responsibility wasn't taught through rules alone. It was learned through experience. 4. Milk bottles. Milk arrived quietly at the doorstep each morning, delivered before most families woke up. Glass bottles sat inside metal boxes, waiting patiently to be collected. There were no notifications, no receipts, and no choices to make. The delivery happened whether anyone thought about it or not. It was routine doing its job, unnoticed and dependable. 5. Fixed dinner. Dinner happened at the same time every night, not because it was written on a schedule, but because everyone knew when it was. Plates were set, seats were familiar, and the meal marked the end of the day's work. Being late wasn't common or excused. Dinner anchored the household, creating structure without needing reminders. 6. Paper notes. Messages weren't sent instantly or followed up repeatedly. They were written down and left where they would be seen. A note on the counter, a reminder near the phone, or a message pinned to the fridge carried real responsibility. If you missed it, you waited. Communication required attention, not speed. 7. Evening TV. Television wasn't background noise filling every quiet moment. It was the main event of the evening. Families gathered together, lights dimmed, and conversations stopped. Shows weren't recorded or replayed later. You watched together when it aired, or you missed it entirely. Television brought people into the same room, not into separate worlds. 8. Roof antenna. Clear reception didn't come automatically. Someone climbed onto the roof to adjust the antenna while another person stood inside giving instructions. Better. Worse. Hold it. Watching television required teamwork and patience. Even entertainment was something the family worked for together. 9. Sunday clothes. Some clothes weren't meant for everyday use. Sunday outfits were worn carefully and treated with respect. They were removed as soon as they were no longer needed and stored neatly away. You didn't play in them or wear them carelessly. Clothing reflected values, pride, and restraint, not trends or status. 10. Cash envelopes. Money was physical and visible. Bills were sorted into envelopes labeled for food, rent, savings, and emergencies. When an envelope was empty, spending stopped. There were no hidden balances or delayed consequences. Every dollar had a purpose, and budgeting was something you could hold in your hands. 11. Shared phone. The telephone stayed in one place, usually in the hallway or kitchen. Everyone shared it. You waited near it when expecting a call, and sometimes missed calls entirely. Being unreachable wasn't stressful or unusual. Life continued even when no one could reach you. 12. Kitchen homework. Homework didn't happen behind closed doors. It was done at the kitchen table while parents cooked, talked, or listened to the radio. Learning took place in the middle of everyday life. Education wasn't isolated or silent. It was shared, observed, and supported. 13. Weather days. Weather decided the pace of the day. Plans weren't protected from rain, heat, or snow. Storms canceled events. Summer heat slowed everything down, and winter reshaped routines. Nature wasn't managed or avoided. It was respected and accepted as part of life. 14. Simple repairs. When something broke, replacement wasn't the first thought. Items were examined, tightened, stitched, or adjusted. A loose screw, a torn seam, or a broken handle was repaired before being discarded. Fixing things was instinctive, not optional. 15. No neighbors. Neighbors weren't strangers living nearby. They were familiar faces, known names, and trusted people. Items were borrowed and returned without paperwork or reminders. Waving, talking, and helping were normal parts of daily life. Community wasn't something people tried to create. It simply existed. Final thoughts. None of these moments felt important at the time. They weren't photographed, recorded, or preserved. They were simply lived, quietly and repeatedly, without knowing they would someday vanish. And today, when we look back, it isn't how old these memories feel that surprises us. It's how calm life once was, without trying to be. If this video brought back a feeling, like the video and subscribe to American Restored, because remembering how life once worked helps us understand what still matters and what we may have forgotten.